Hello, everyone. My name is Lee, and I share practical AI engineering knowledge on my YouTube channel, AI with Lee. Today, I'm going to talk about mental model of agentic coding. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by all the news and tools on AI agentic coding? So if you feel the same way, definitely you are not alone. Because for a while, I felt so overwhelmed until I took a step back, start thinking about all the agentic coding from the first principle and build a mental model of giving me a new perspective of how to use these tools better. So the reason why I think we are all overwhelmed is that this industry basically is all the attention is all you need. Here, I'm not talking about the transformer architecture introduced in that paper, but on the news, you see another model which got the top score on the benchmark, another new model which is going to be a game changer, and all these tech leaders talking about how the software engineers going just to be replaced. So, and meanwhile, you feel your colleagues are now supercharged with AI, and you feel you have to use and adopt these tools because of fear of missing out. And really, a lot of time you feel a lot of the fatigue and even burnout. So here is a very interesting picture of the modern day live coding burnout. As what if instead of being overwhelmed by all these new things, instead you build a mental model of the AI coding tools? So here, based on my previous experience of managing a few student interns for my side project, I come up with some of ideas of management principles of how to better manage and get more from my interns. So let's say now your company hires Eric, who is a sophomore at MIT and really great at coding. Thanks to the competition, the hourly rate for these interns are really, really cheap. And they have already read all the open code on the GitHub, so they can do whatever Python or Java coding task. They're so excited about this internship that they're willing to work for you 24/7. However, quickly after the first excitement, you realize the issue where Eric is a good coder to finish the coding, but once he is on one task, he will have no time for the other task. And also sometimes I want to write a PowerPoint or writing a document. That also is not something Eric is good at. Now, what if you can manage in the infinite number of smart interns? For example, you have some other interns, Ben, who is a PhD student. So you can assign Ben to do tasks which require more thinking and reasoning, such as the prompt engineering. James could be very good at writing the docs. However, still you run into some issues while managing these different interns where they can finish the request, but all at very different standards. And a lot of times I'm still explicitly tell them that our context, rules, and the standards to make sure the outcomes meet or even not to say that exceed my expectations. So really, this is the time when I need to step back and think about how to achieve more and better from all of these smart interns. Because with these the right tools or principles, definitely they are so powerful. But without that, you are running into so many issues. So this one thing is that I want these interns have access to the relevant context, such as the code files, docs, and tickets when completing certain tasks. So that's why we need the context engineering. And also I noticed that Eric always just would jump into writing the code, making changes in 10 files. But what if I can ask Eric always to make a plan and get my approval first? before making all these changes. So that's why in the modern day AI coding IDE, we all have this plan mode. And also these interns, they think just writing the code is done for the job, but I really want them to run the code testing and fix the bugs by reviewing themselves. So that's something the code hooks can be helpful. Also, now they always just tell me they are done by showing changing the code on my local code base. However, what I really want them is to collaborate on GitHub, write the reviews, and making the PR and addressing the comments. So that's why things like MCP can be helpful. Also, let's say our company has pretty strict coding standards and formatting rules. I want to have these interns know these rules and write the code review to make sure that they are all good standards. So that's why we can use things like code skills. Also, some of the tasks require not just writing code, but some organized on local files. So that's why Cloud has this feature or tool called code work, where you can let them, let's say, rename the files. So now as an intern manager, you also need to speak the language tailored for each task. So this means that for each of the tasks and even for each of the different interns, they are kind of different personalities. So that's why there's a term called prompt engineering, so that you speak in a way and the right context where they can best understand and get you the output you want. Also, another thing is that I won't be in front of my IDE all the time. Sometimes when I'm out or in the meeting, I want to communicate and check in with these in terms of a coding task, let's say through my iPhone. So that's why there could be different interfaces, such as the mobile or the web. So that's why yesterday, Cloud just released a new tool for the remote control. So from that, you can now see like how these different tools fit into the big picture. And also to highlight that here is that now I'm on this page, I only show you some of the best practices things that you can do to better manage of your smart interns. But this is not a complete list. The way I think about this is that there are a lot of the things I want to enforce, and the existing tools are just the available tools where I can leverage already, and there could be some other best practices where there are no existing tool. So so this could be some of the exciting side project opportunity or something as the feedback I can provide to Cursor or OpenAI. So this could make this thing all very exciting, where you feel now being forced to use these tools, but instead these tools are created to help you solve all these questions you will run into at a certain point. So now if as Boris Cherny with the head of Cloud Code said, coding is largely solved. As a software engineer, how can you add even more value? So with the power of managing your intern agents well, here is what I think you can do now, and why these things can unlock you the time and the power to do more in the future. So now you can already improve the developer velocity, which means you will have more time to think and improve the product and the user experience. And then now you can use Cloud Code to implement changes very quickly. And also this gives you opportunity to think whether it is the best way to solve the user problem. Also now you can just review the code changes by Cursor quickly. In the future, This was also will be open to more opportunities, such as the agents can also evaluate the impact on the cost, latency, and dependencies, so that the changes or finishing the task is not just by writing the code, but also making sure everything works for the production and creates better user experience for the users. Also, now you can quickly build the demo apps. And this means that in the future, you will have more brainstorm time and think about how to simplify how the users would interact with your app. So the biggest takeaway from this talk is that instead of jumping to learn the next hot tool, instead, you should reflect on what problems it solves from building your own mental model. So with all these exciting agent coding tools, let's all become the superheroes of our product's users. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know if it is helpful or what your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. Thank you.